there.
How are you?
Oh, just feeling healthy. And I was going to say healthy, wealthy, and wise, but maybe healthy, meh, in the financial side.
Right, middle class.
Middle class.
Yeah. Welcome to the show. It's episode 403. We are in the Meister Butler bunker.
Yes.
Safe and happy as we speak.
I have disinfected. I went through the disinfection chamber, if you will, the corridor where I had to,
Well, yeah, I run a tight ship around
She
here.
does. Get my fever checked.
Yeah.
Yep, we're running a 98.1 over here. Feeling good.
They're going to think you're joking, but that is a true
it's
story.
absolutely true. Lysol wipes.
With the rate of how things change, this will all be irrelevant whenever this episode comes out because it's going to be like a few days from now. But I figured we ought to just focus on, for now, like fun stuff.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk about all the craziness in the world another time.
I love fun stuff.
I know. Stuff and things.
That's like my favorite restaurant growing up. Eggs and things.
No.
Yes, for real.
What were the things? Bacon?
Well, the things they were famous for were crepes.
Oh.
And it was one of those restaurants where just by being there, you get a crepe. So, like, you arrive and they give you your water and you order a meal and then, like, they give you an appetizer.
It's like a bread basket, but crepes.
Yes, a crepe with like, a berry compote.
They buried the lead in the title of this
It should
restaurant.
be like crepes and things.
Yes.
This is a really, really good point.
Where's their marketing person? Jesus.
They didn't even need one because the line was always out the door.
Because it was so yummy.
And maybe it's like the things were secret, and they were like, don't let anybody know.
Oh, they didn't want word to get out.
Didn't want word.
Are they still open?
Yes, they are. They have two. They open another location. This is in
my
Ventura
God,
County.
that's
I had my
hilarious.
15th birthday there.
And they still call it eggs and things.
They sure do.
I love
Yeah,
that.
I think it was my 15th some birthday. I had a kidnap breakfast. Maybe it was a little bit younger than that, like
The
13.
hell is that,
It's
Sarah?
real cute. It's where it must have been younger than that. It's where like the parents like all know what's going on, and then so my mom had, I think it was like my best friend. She at the time, maybe like Kara or Jenny, one of those gals. Shout out to either of you if you listen to this. They probably don't, but if they did, hey gals. Maybe they do. I don't know their lives. Actually, I do. I follow them on Instagram. Whatever. So she came over to my house first, and like it was all a surprise, and woke me up, and it was like, hey, we're going out to breakfast, and guess what? We're gonna wake we're going house to house, and we're gonna wake up our other friends and like load them into the van. So it was like a kidnap breakfast where like you come in your pajamas, and like the parents knew what was going on, so we'd like knock on the door, and we'd sneak into their room.
Was this a Rice household original idea, or was this something that went on out here?
I think it might have been something that went on.
I love it.
It's
That's
real
a
cute,
great
right?
idea.
And then, like, you sneak into their room, and, like, instead of getting woken up by your parents in the morning, you're woken up by, like, all your best friends, and you're like, kidnap breakfast! And then they just grab their stuff, and we go to the next house, and we did it to, like, maybe 6 of my friends, and then we all went and had breakfast together, and then went to school.
That is so fun.
Isn't that cute?
Yes.
Or maybe it was a weekend, probably a weekend, but...
Right, that's adorable.
Yeah, so that I still remember that. It's one of my favorite. I remember waking up Paige.
Yeah, that's very
and waking
memorable.
Up Lindsay.
Paige.
Yeah.
Shout out to Paige and Lindsay.
Yep, shout out.
But, I mean, a lot of you people are probably staying home. I know that. And you want to be clean. And I think you should add to that list your face.
Yes.
Clean it.
I think people don't realize how dirty their face is.
Well, we touch them constantly.
I know. You're doing it right now.
I know. Even as we
Yes.
sat here recording, I thought, well, good thing I'm washing like a
Yes.
crazy person. But I had never used any kind of facial brush. I kept seeing them on Instagram and stuff
It'll
like
change
that.
your world.
Tell me why.
So this is the best way I think about it. You know when you come out of I think about it like a car. You know when you, like, your car sits outside for a while and it has that film on it?
Yeah.
Even if you go through the you wouldn't want to start waxing your car or putting all, like, the nice stuff on it before it's, like, really deep cleaned.
Yeah.
And we don't really realize how dirty it is. So I feel like it does the same thing. It's like putting our face through, like, a car wash that gets all of the dirt off so that we can then get the most out of the beauty products. Because if you were to just slap all the stuff that we use, like, right on top of a dirty skin, your pores aren't clean, so it can't even get in there.
Well, and that's what's great about the Towel Clean facial brush, because there's so many that you could choose from, but they all make the same claims, but most of them lack well, they cost a fortune for starters.
I used to have one. It was so expensive.
Yeah.
It's a joke.
I'm not doing that.
People who are in the beauty industry and 10 years ago, what brush I'm talking about, come on. Just changing the brush heads alone.
And they also collect unwanted bacteria, which, as you know, in this bunker, no, which it goes back onto your face once you cleanse it again. So forget that.
It's like using the dirty rag cleaning the car.
Yes. This is the only award-winning facial brush with a UVC brush head, dryer, and charger all in one. So it kills 99.9% of bacteria.
Oh, hell yeah.
I love it. It's the cleanest.
I didn't know it killed all the bacteria.
See,
what
you
am
just
I doing?
like the way
I just like how it feels.
Works. It's the cleanest, most effective facial brush you'll find, and it's getting a ton of buzz lately. Anyway, Tao Clean is offering our listeners a deal at 62% off the Tao Clean Orbital facial brush. Normally, it retails for $149, so it's this deal you won't want to miss. Exclusively for our listeners only. This discount also applies towards any product site-wide, 62% off. Just go to taoclean.com today and enter code BRAINCANDY. Take advantage of the incredible savings. That's TAO, like Tao, Clean, CLEAN.com, and enter code BRAINCANDY to get 62% off the facial brush and site-wide. Yes. All right. Well, okay. So I, first of all, want to thank the Brainiacs because they are killing it with sending me great links.
Oh, I love that.
Right?
Yes.
When they have, recommendations on documentaries or articles, it's always a winner.
Oh, my gosh. See, it's funny. They know that I
You're
don't
a lost
pop up.
cause.
I'm online sometimes a lot and then sometimes not. So they don't send me anything like that.
Sometimes they send it to me and tell me to tell you.
Tell me all those
One
things.
of our Brainiacs sent me a link to a short documentary about 30 minutes called Child of Rage.
Oh.
Have you heard of this?
Oh, is this the girl who has schizophrenia?
Kind of.
Okay, tell me of it.
You're on the right
of
track.
This. Tell me
She
about
was
this.
6.5, and she had been, this little girl had been abused. Her mom died when she was 1, and then her dad sexually... what was that?
I meant to put my phone on silent, and instead I pinged it. I'm telling you, they should not put those right next to each other.
Yeah, you've
I
always
think you can
complained about
rearrange
that.
it. You probably can. Oh, edit right there. There you go.
So her mom died when she was 1, and then her dad raped her and sexually
that's
abused
lovely.
her at that age as well. And so she...
At 1.
Yeah. I mean, it's inconceivable, And she had that thing where, when you have severe trauma and neglect, where
Your severe attachment injury.
That's what
so you
she
can't,
has.
Yes.
She doesn't know how to love or feel love.
Anxious, insecure attachment.
And she's also violent and wants to kill her brother. And she was adopted
Oh, God.
with her brother, but then, it was one of those things where they have to lock her in a room to go to bed,
God.
all that stuff. So this documentary...
This is just so sad.
It's beyond.
What happened to you saying happy things?
Well,
Goodness.
I say it's happy in the sense that she is now fine.
This is great.
They don't show it in the documentary because the documentary is from 1991, but
I think I've seen
she's
this.
a nurse now and
Oh,
she's
this
fully
is
recovered.
Great. Well, and the fact that she's a nurse, that's the perfect job for her.
Yeah.
You can imagine why.
Yeah.
She's great at handling crises and trauma, and she is used to. It's one of those things like they say, well, not they say it. I've just heard this expression, like if you're born in the fire, you're used to the flames.
Yeah.
She can be calm. The same reason why I can sit in a couples session and have the couples be, arguing and really tense, and I can sit there like cool as a cucumber. Because it's like, yeah, okay, I'm used to this.
Yeah, it's comfortable.
She's totally used to it. It probably feels better for her to be in that environment. I bet she's like an ER nurse.
I was surprised though, because if you watch the 30-minute film, it's just her being interviewed by her therapist, and you're hearing what she seems so bright and clever and adorable. But he's saying what would you want to do to your brother, and then you hear her say these terrible things.
I feel like, did Oprah do something on this?
Maybe, and she's had other types like that.
Okay, it might. I feel like somewhere I've heard this, but
You probably
it's
have.
so interesting.
Yeah,
I need
and
to go
I
back
wonder
and watch
though,
that. New eye.
so here's the crazy second part, which is that her parents had to give her up to this therapist who took her in, and it was like this intensive situation because it was so urgent. And so for a year, she was in this intensive therapy and made the recovery. But later, years later, the same therapist went to jail for the murder of one of her other patients because she did that weird rebirth thing.
No.
Yes.
Oh my God. That's so not okay.
I cannot believe that happens.
Oh my God.
So rebirthing is this controversial therapy approach. It can't even be called that.
It isn't, because I'll tell you what, we never learned in school that.
Yeah.
So that's like not a thing.
You know when you go to like a fucking Dr. Bombay, Voodoo, whoever, and they're like, I have a new way. And then they're like, we're going to put 600 pounds of people on top of you and a blanket over you. And then you have to try to get out. And so a 10-year-old girl died.
Oh my God.
And so now...
What in a therapist's mind would make them think that was...
They claim, this bozo claims that during the time that you're in this faux womb, you let out all your rage and aggression.
No.
And then you come out reborn.
No.
It's ridiculous.
No.
And so that therapist ended up going to jail for 7 years. Thank God for the death of that poor child. But anyway...
This is weird.
It is, because how can you have such great results with this one?
I think that kind of... It's kind of like... And this is a very... I don't know. I don't mean to like, simplify it like this. But, you know, when they say, like, people who just won a hand in poker, how you should fold the next, like, 5 because the confidence from that last winning the pot makes you think that you're more confident in the next one, that you need to kind of, like, check yourself because it's that...
So
Almost
you think
like
she became emboldened by her success?
Maybe.
Yeah, it's possible.
I mean,
Good gravy. It is so disturbing. But it is fascinating to watch the child being interviewed and to see someone who appears so normal and fun and cute and sweet and all those good things, and then who had this mental problem.
But it really is a good lesson in resiliency.
Yes, and hopeful. This is what I wanted to ask you as somebody who works in that field. How do you believe one can recover if those connections are never made early on? Mm-hmm. How is it that they could be generated eventually?
That you can not teach that to somebody, but you can through what do they call it? Like you can form new attachments through really healthy and safe relationships. Mm-hmm. So if you see enough of that.
So it's possible.
Yeah. And I think something like EMDR, that eye movement rapid desensitization that goes back and allows you to reprocess like childhood trauma would really help with that.
Yeah. And
because that's exactly like what that's designed for. So that but you have to be able to have healthy relationships that kind of teach you how to reform those. Mm-hmm. And people have to like respond in the right way. And they have to have like a lot of resiliency factors.
Right. Well, I'm just really pleased that she made a recovery.
Yeah.
But, is that interesting to watch, especially when it's such a young child who's endured all that. But that leads me to the thing another Brainiac sent me, which was, I had already seen, but it reminded me to talk to you about. Did you see the video of Julianne, is her name Hough or how? Getting that therapy treatment from that guy.
Nope. What? No, I love therapy with air quotes. What is this?
I don't even know what you'd call it, but basically she was laying tummy down on a table, and he was like not even really touching her, but he was like moving the energy around her.
My mom does that, Reiki.
Okay, maybe that's what it was. And she was like arching her back. Yeah. It was as if she were being exercised.
Yeah.
And the demons were escaping. And I wanted to know your thoughts on that. Would you like to see it before you comment?
Yes,
okay, let's pause.
Okay. That was different than what I thought it was going to be for some reason. I have not seen anything like that.
How would you describe it?
It was, okay. Have you ever been to a show in Vegas where somebody gets hypnotized?
Yeah.
And you know how... there is that power of suggestion plus the audience watching where the people who are pulled from the audience may be experiencing elements of like hypnosis, but a lot of it is like
Like they want to believe real bad.
Yes. And it's like, it when you feel like you're supposed to react in a certain way, the likelihood of you reacting like that is like higher. Like you feel like this is what you're supposed to do. And I say this and know this as somebody who has been pulled up on stage and done this, where I was in control, but I kind of wasn't. I was open more to the power of suggestion. And we've talked about this before, how I'm like somebody who's really susceptible to hypnosis and can like meditate really easy. I can kind of like do that. And I feel like actors may have that same thing where they can get into another role.
Yeah.
And so she has this kind of openness, and it almost feels like you're acting in a way of how the guy who's administering it, wants more than
it almost feels like when someone operates a Ouija board, and they think that it's involuntary,
right?
But
it's like that,
yeah.
But at the same time, I have done a Reiki session where somebody was doing like quote unquote energy work like around my head, and my head was laying down, like I was resting my head down. And I remember this feeling that was so bizarre because I was like, what's happening here? Like, is this going to work? And they had their hands around my head, and then when they moved their hands away, they weren't touching me at all, and my eyes were closed, and I like knew that their hands were around my head. And then when they moved their hands away, the feeling felt like somebody was holding my head and then dropped it. And I was like, oh my God, did you just drop? And I said that out loud. I was like, did you just drop like, what just happened? And she's like, no, I didn't touch you. And I was like, what?
That's freaky.
Was that? And that was the only little moment of that I got where I was like, I really 100%, like I asked her, I was like, did you just drop, what just happened there? Because it was such a strong feeling.
Yeah.
And so I wonder if like that is like an exaggerated version of that.
Yeah, I think she for real believes it's real, and what do I know? Maybe it is. Sure looks weird though. And
I do know that there is like the body does keep the score. We know that it holds on to those blockages and energy. Also, when I go and I've gotten like chiropractic work done, when they crack my neck, I often cry.
No,
and like it's like all of a sudden I'll just start crying, and I'm like, I'm so sorry. And I've gone to 3 different chiropractors where that's happened, and everyone has said, oh, that's totally normal. It happens all the time.
Why?
And they've even said, I've had one of them say, do you have a history of sexual abuse? And I said, yes. And they said that often happens with women who have a history of sexual abuse.
Why, Sarah?
And then you think these are things we don't know, but like, this is my experience in the chiropractor. Then I've had people who have said like, like the chakras and the different like, in your body, that the throat chakra is linked to not being able to speak your truth, and that you'll hold tension in your neck and in your throat. And when I talk to people who are sexual abuse victims and I say, where do you feel it? They'll always say, I feel a lump in my throat.
Okay.
It's either, so it's pretty, like you, especially with childhood stuff, like you weren't able to speak your truth. And it's there are a lot of things that, like, especially going through the program I went through, which is like, so like heavily researched and evidence-based. I did all that. We did all the tests, did all my advancements, blah, blah, blah. They're like, yes, you know all the info. And then I get into supervision with people who, like, I had one professor who was like Mormon. He's not like in hippity-dippity, like this isn't like, long, flowy, what do you call it?
Chico's therapist collection.
Melissa Etheridge collection or whatever. Not Melissa Etheridge. What's her name? Stevie Nicks collection. Yes. So it's not that. I guess Melissa Etheridge would work too.
Yeah, right.
So I'll talk about a lot of this stuff like after, like once you're in supervision, they're like, well, we can't explain the serendipity. We can't explain but it's a real thing. And then when I first started working with clients, I would often like leave and almost have some of their symptoms. Like if I had a client who had insomnia, I wouldn't be able to sleep that night. If I had a client who had like food cravings for like hamburgers, I would drive home and all I could think about was a hamburger. So I was telling my professor this, and she was like, you got to get some crystals. And I was like, what?
Come on.
Just say? And I can see that like, so I did like a little, and it was just annoying because my mom was like, you got to get a hemite necklace and absorb the energy. So I don't know if it's that when I have that, I feel like I've created in my mind like a mental like space, I had another supervisor who said, visualize a bucket where like the information goes into a bucket next to you. And when you're done with the session, you can dump the bucket out. So it like doesn't go into you.
What do you think of that stuff?
And I'm like, whatever you need to say in your mind, like whatever works for you,
whatever
works for you.
Mm-hmm.
So, whatever you want to be, like the mind is very strong.
My wish though for the hippity dippities is because a lot of times I think they make great points and have really valid efforts, but stop talking weird. Like call it normal stuff. Like they start talking in this different jargon that then discredits it in a way.
Right.
And that's how it is with my mom. Like, whenever she starts talking about Jesus, it becomes this weird language where it's like, just say it normal, lady.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
when I translate things from my mom to, like, I'm like,
mortals.
Oh, damn, she's saying all the stuff that my supervisor's saying.
When I noticed that with religion, too, that we're usually all talking about the same thing. We just have different language for it.
Amen.
And I wish people would tone it down with any sort of specialized language.
Yep.
But be that as it may, her video kind of went viral, and I just was curious.
It's interesting, though.
Yeah. I mean, whatever works for that lady. Okay, so I
have to say one more thing.
Yeah.
I don't like it when they prescribe it as like a cure, because like what works for one is kind of like the diet thing, kind of like veganism, kind of like veg, all that stuff. Is it great for you? Wonderful, but you can't. What works for one doesn't work for another, and you can't go around saying this is the answer for you, because no, this is the answer for me. Mm-hmm. And you can give somebody that information, and then they can do with it what they want. But if you don't fundamentally if you're not even open to the oh, excuse me, I had a little burp.
Oh, it's all right.
If you're not open to those things, they're not going to work for you. Mm-hmm. You're like, no, it doesn't work.
Well, what works for everyone is Clean Cult cleaning products. I am obsessed. I hate when influencers say they're obsessed with something, because they say that about every friggin' thing. But I actually am.
I have a funny story about this.
What?
So we got our cleaning products. They're so fantastic. They look beautiful. So that's one part of it. Okay. But then, so I come home and we just moved into a new place, and we got our cleaning products, and Ren had cleaned the kitchen, and I saw there was still a little bit of a film on there, and I was like, oh, I think maybe we didn't get everything off. And so I watched him then spray the next time, and noticed that he was using the amount that you would normally use for any other cleaning product, which is 4 sprays on the counter. And I was like, guess what?
Good news.
Good news. This is a 1 spray for each side of the counter product. Mm-hmm. And so he was like, oh my gosh, this is really good stuff.
It's so good.
So concentrated that you need so much less.
Yeah.
And he was like, the counters are sparkling clear, but I just use too much.
Yeah.
You need so little to get the job done. And I love that, because that makes me feel like I'm not wasting product. It makes me feel like they're not
yeah. And you're not hurting the earth as much.
Right.
Fewer products.
Stuff so fast.
And then they send refills in these biodegradable
milk cartons.
Milk cartons, yeah. And those are great because you can compost them or recycle them or whatever. And I love the scent. I have the soaps that are lemongrass smell, and I love it. I think it's...
I got a lavender one.
Sometimes when it's lemon, it's
fake lemon.
Yeah, chemical lemon.
It's not good.
This is fresh. It smells like true lemongrass. They're coconut-based formulas, so they don't have all the scary toxic stuff in there. Sarah's BF used to work for a competitor company that's super toxic.
Yes.
He was like, thank Christ for Clean Cult.
Yes. Oh my gosh, for real. Yeah, we've
give it a try. You guys will love it. They have everything. They have, every cleaning product you can imagine. I love those dryer balls I told you guys last time.
I put little drops of lavender oil on them and then throw them in with our bed sheets.
That's smart.
And it makes the bed sheets soft and smell like lavender.
That's a great tip.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love crap like that. Get started with Clean Cult right now. Go to cleancult.com/braincandy for 25% off your first kit, but only until May 30th. Get 25% off now through May 30th at cleancult.com/braincandy, cleancult.com/braincandy. I know you people need to clean right now.
Right. I was just going to say, and for Christ's sake, they're sold out of everything. Don't worry about getting the, freaking $1 bajillion thing on Amazon. Get this.
I read an article in the New York Times that I know that you will, I think you will be passionate about. And the title was something like, what's happened to all the DIY collages? You know how when you're a teenager or whatever,
I love those.
In your bedroom, you would.
I still make them.
I knew that.
Boards.
See, this is.
We
just
them.
call them something else.
That's still my favorite thing to do. It's essentially the same thing.
Yeah. So evidently, because print is on the decline, people really don't have as many opportunities to sort of collect images and things and quotes from magazines and display them on their walls. So influencers and companies have created basically like kits where you can choose a theme. So I know.
No.
Yes.
This is like Halloween costumes in a box. I hate this. I hate controlled play. I'm so passionate about being anti this.
I am too.
I mean, there isn't even I can't.
She's
even,
outraged. I know.
You want a theme? Pick a magazine. There's your theme.
You want a theme? The theme for me is, what do you love, Susie, or whoever? Find what you love and post it. So come on. Here's the thing: these people are making these kits, and let's say it's the beach theme or whatever. So it's like beach photos and quotes, and then it's supposed to look like you made it.
This is like scrapbooking, but we've dumbed it down or something.
Yeah, pre-made.
Yeah, I hate this.
Yeah, and they want it to look pretty for Instagram, and I hate that too. They're not supposed to be
not the
pretty.
Purpose.
It's supposed to be inspiring,
right? And you're it's not for everyone else. It's supposed to be for you, which is why the vision board. That was so fun to do when I was younger. Remember those binders that had the clear sleeve and you put the sleeve in? That was my favorite part. Second only to...
I still do that.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Remember I got it out one time on the Bill Dixon episode. I got out that giant binder with this clear sleeves, and I was finding an article from the Atlantic that was the science of what's funny. And you're like, who has a binder? But I wish people were still doing it.
No, they should. They definitely should. Why don't we?
Well, the article was saying that because of Instagram and the homogeny of probably everyone you follow has a similar look.
Yeah.
Because it's what you're drawn to. So then we all end up looking the same and dressing the same and being the same. And we think that if our wall isn't that millennial pink or whatever, then it's not beautiful. Mm-hmm. And that I get why it happens. And I'm not saying you're an asshole if you do it. I'm just saying whatever you would have picked would have been just as great.
Absolutely.
I want to encourage people.
Well, because and this is even something that therapeutically I've done with clients, because the opportunity to look through and I try to make sure that there's especially working with teenagers, I think it's really good. To make sure they have all the options, going through the magazine. And, I was talking to my mom about making vision boards and that kind of thing. She's like, well, you can just print Google what you want and print the pictures out. I said, well, but you're going in with your idea already, not with an open blank slate and looking for what kind of calls to you. Mm-hmm. When you go through a magazine, it's putting your mind in a different place.
I agree.
Where you're searching, what do I like? Mm-hmm. What do I connect with? What do I need?
Yeah.
And when you ask yourself that, the answer presents itself, because that's the beauty of how the mind works. Mm-hmm. And so your attention will be drawn to something that you need in that moment. And if somebody's already prescribed, giving you that, then it's taking away the mindfulness and the stuff that's really beneficial. Looking at the pictures afterwards is only helps us, I don't know, when there's been a intention that's been set about what those things mean. And of course you can look at a sticker that says something nice on your mirror every day or whatever.
It's not the same.
It's not the same as if you had all these different words to pick from and you pick the one that...
Yes.
Yeah. Even when I'm talking to clients about how do you feel, and tell them give me a feeling, I'll give them a sheet that has a ton of different words on that, because sometimes they don't even have in their mind the whole list of possible feelings. Mm-hmm. They don't think about, apathetic or,
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So you need a ton of options to then be able to narrow in on what it is that you.
Yep. See, telling you people.
You are right. I am passionate about that. They're. Oh, I could go on and on and on.
I think this is one of those times where our opinions overlap.
Yes, absolutely. It's the same as kids, like with the toys, where this is this is what it is. I don't like when they tell them this is what it is.
Yeah.
I like when it's free-form play. Open-ended play. Yes. That is the best.
I know. Well, because we pulled Lincoln out of school because, the virus. Mm-hmm. And within an hour, he was bored. And I said, well, guess what? You're going to be real bored for the next couple months unless you start getting real creative about what you're going to fill your day with. But I think it's good for him because a lot of kids don't really do that anymore.
It's very good for him.
Yeah.
My mom used to push us with that too. Whenever she said we were bored, she said, that's impossible. And she'd pull out some like quote from like Nietzsche or something like that was saying like only people who are
boring
are bored.
I feel that way too.
And so when she told me that, I was like, I am not boring.
No, right.
I, like, I am going to go create. So she'd always send me to the bookshelf and she'd be like, go find a book and go.
Yeah.
And then I got in trouble for like cutting pictures out of books to make collages. So there you go, full circle.
Yeah, I agree. And, it's sort of like, he'll learn. Another thing you're probably going to want to have if you are staying inside more is really soft, lovely sheets.
Love them.
I just got a new duvet cover from Brooklinen.
What one did you get?
It was the white luxe duvet cover, and it is beautiful.
You're sleeping on a white duvet cover.
I am.
There's nothing sexier or better. How do you feel, Susie Mustard?
I mean, it really feels like luxury.
Yes, it does. Isn't it amazing?
And if you're going to be home more especially, get cozy.
Have to. We spend so much time in bed.
Mm-hmm. And on the package, it said something like something to the effect of, the more you wash it, the softer it'll be.
This is true.
And they are correct.
Yep.
That is what happens.
My linen sheets, oh my God.
I thought about getting the linen, but I didn't because I felt like it has that textury look and I wanted a smoother look.
You like the smooth look.
Yeah.
Yes. The Luxe one is nice for that. Yeah. And I like the little more like textured look that's like, but it's not, it doesn't feel, it feels so soft. Mm-hmm. And I'm a sweaty person at night, so I need the linen.
Oh, okay. Yeah, breathable.
Super.
You guys will love Brooklinen because they are these luxury bedding items, but they cut out the middleman, so they're more affordable, and you can mix and match the colors. They have loungewear, too, and towels and stuff like that. Tons of 5-star reviews, and they just have all the bathroom and bedroom essentials that you need. Brooklinen.com is the perfect place to start making small changes that make big differences. Brooklinen is so confident in their products that all their sheets, comforters, loungewear, and towels come with a lifetime warranty. Go on, make yourself comfortable. Get 10% off your first order and free shipping when you use promo code BRAIN at brooklinen.com. That's BROOKLINEN.com, promo code BRAIN. And hey, New Yorkers, if you're listening, you can get the internet's favorite sheets and more in real life. Visit Brooklinen's first store in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
At 127 Kent Avenue in Williamsburg. I wonder if that was near your Brooklyn Real World.
Close enough.
Brooklinen, everything you need to live your most comfortable life.
That's like your motto.
I know. It really is.
Yeah.
I'm very passionate about living a comfortable life. Yeah. Another article from a Brainiac. Thank you to everyone, by the way, again, for sending them, was also in the New York Times, and it was about the problem of having a shortage of forensic pathologists and coroners. And I never knew about that. I never knew that we had a shortage problem. Part of it is from, the opioid epidemic, of course, because there's so many more dead bodies.
Oh,
so that's disturbing.
God.
And then the other problem, which I had
How many are we talking?
I mean, it isn't good. Basically, in the article, it was like bodies are piling up.
Stop. That's crazy.
Yeah, and they're having to buy, like, those modular, sort of like mobile homes for behind to keep the bodies. And it's terrible because
oh my God.
I didn't know that forensic pathologists, or whatever the correct word is, they basically have to be doctors, but also be trained in criminology and like how the crime aspect of it. But they make far less than a doctor. So how bullshit is that? No wonder no one wants to do it.
That's bullshit.
And they were saying in the article that one of the reasons why they're paid less is because we stigmatize anyone that deals with death.
Get out.
Yeah.
I was going to say it was because they don't prescribe anything.
Oh,
so there's no
maybe
money
that too.
with the
right, from the insurance companies.
Insurance companies and from the, pharmaceutical companies.
It's a damn shame.
Man,
because
that's
what
an
an important job. Right. And we need these people, and they're doing really great work. And that was another thing. So it was talking about how, thanks to their diligence, we learned about the opioid epidemic early on because they were like, this is happening. We also were able to show one person died from measles, but they had no outward symptoms of measles that are typical.
Yeah.
And thankfully, through the autopsy, they realized there was an entire cluster of people who weren't vaccinated. And so they found out that there was a vaccine problem. So that's helpful. They also help us identify food safety issues. If there's a bunch of people that are dying from poisoning.
This is very important.
Right. And it's like, I don't know what the answer is. That's always the bummer about articles like this, where they're just sort of planting the seed of here's the problem, and then the next stage is figuring out how to handle it.
Do you think we need a better relationship with death? How do you change
We
that?
certainly do, and we also need, to incentivize people to go to school for it.
Yeah. Maybe they could, like I say, like they're just going to listen to the show and then take my advice.
You never know,
right?
Sarah.
But you know how they give student loan forgiveness for working in public health and stuff like that?
Yeah, or even like if you join the Peace Corps sometimes.
Yeah, they should just be like, 5 years of working with dead bodies, all of it gone.
They did say, that's one of the things they're considering is like forgiveness of student loans. Because when you leave medical school, you have a ton, but you're not worried because you're going to make a ton.
Yeah.
Well.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, right? I'm real mad about it. And one other thing that they were able to sort of figure out is that, you know how we know now that domestic violence is a huge predictor of other kinds of violence, homicide, and even mass shootings. They were able to determine that and found that non-fatal strangulation, so if one were to strangle their partner, but then she lives, that is often predating homicide. Yeah. And so then you can make changes systemically.
Because they probably saw the people who were dead also had. Oh my God!
It's so I'm just fascinated by it, and also how weird we are about death.
Yeah,
I don't know if you guys know this, but it's coming for you.
Yeah, right. That book, Confessions of a
Funeral
Director. One of my favorite books.
One of mine too.
And I took that book and passed it along to my crisis management professor, and she told me it was one of her favorite books, and she was so grateful that I gave it to her.
Yeah, Confessions of a Funeral Director was by Caleb Wilde, and he tells what it's like to be in his line of work, but he also encourages death positivity. Yeah. And honoring people rather than what we do, which is pretend it's not happening, get it over with as soon as possible.
Yeah, and he uses like really good real stories and... Obviously,
Yeah, that's a great book to recommend.
Yeah, and it's a quick read, so.
By the way, you should join our book club if you're not in it because the books are great. That was one of our book club picks. Mm-hmm. The one for this month is She Said about the Harvey Weinstein investigation.
Is it so good?
It's fantastic.
I'm going to read it. Because I think this will be the month I read all of them.
Oh, I hope.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you'd probably be home more.
Because I'm done with my other one, so it's so fascinating.
I am so glad because, wow, that book was outstanding. Just reading what these two New York Times journalists did to take him down.
Wow.
And it reads, I don't want to be glib about it because it's so serious, but it read like a thriller. Ooh. Because you're like, what is going to happen?
Oh my
What's
God,
he going to do?
Wait to watch it.
Oh, it's so good. Anyway, you should join our book club.
I'm so glad he got sentenced to so many years.
I know, and that's the other thing, because remember when we read...
in there, he can't get out.
We read the Golden State Killer one, I'll Be Gone in the Dark or whatever, And in that month, he was caught. And now this feels like we're reading the Harvey Weinstein story, and then he gets sentenced.
It's great.
23 years. He had a heart attack yesterday.
Oh, well.
Uh-oh. Oopsies. Anyway, okay, what is I want to talk about next? There was... What would you do if this happened to you? It was one of those silly articles where someone came across, like, pillowcases on the road, but they were full, like, properly full, like it looked like a pillow was in it, and then it started moving. What would you do if that were you? Would you look in the bag? Or would you, like, call somebody or what? Or just keep walking?
Like, no, I would probably first listen for some sounds.
Okay. What if you didn't really hear anything?
I mean, I would use my deductive reasoning. I mean, if it's moving like a snake, fuck that, I'm out of there.
It's a bag of snakes, Sarah.
Is it a bag of snakes?
It's a bag.
Stop it! I guessed! Stop. I'm like, can't even put my feet on the floor right now because it freaks me out so much. I feel like they're in this house. I know they're not because they would have to go through the decontamination zone as well.
Huge bag of snakes.
That shit, I'm out. I see how I said if it moves like a snake, I'm out of there? Yeah. Because that is the one thing I was worried it would be. Snakes. Why'd it have to be snakes?
13 snakes.
Stop it! And the most unlucky number? Go figure!
Stop.
What is wrong with whoever was keeping 13 snakes captive?
Captive.
Well, they didn't just sneak in there.
Everything you say is hilarious, that's all.
They weren't like, hey,
this
let's go
looks
find
cozy.
a cozy pillowcase. No, because pillowcases are exactly what you put snakes in when they're like wrangling them.
Yeah.
In all those like videos where crazy people are draining venom out of snakes for Lord knows what. Like they're always like throwing them in pillowcases with those little fork things that they use.
Yeah.
Like the long skewers. I'm doing a terrible job explaining it, but I feel like anybody who's seen this knows exactly what I'm talking about.
On my first season of Road Rules, we had to deal with the giant, like 25-foot ones.
For some reason, I'm better with that.
Well, right, me too. I agree. There were small ones, and the big one was more manageable because it's like not a real.
Right,
it seemed not real.
I feel like I can be like, okay, I'll just move away from that thing.
Yeah,
and the little ones, like they seem faster.
That's what we had to use is that thing you just described. That's like the skewer,
the snake skewer,
kebabs or whatever.
Jesus Christ, I hate snakes. I used to have a reoccurring nightmare where I was it was when I was little, and I had a bunk bed that had no bottom bunk. I just had a top bed. And I would have nightmares where my entire floor was covered in snakes, and they would start winding their way up to my bunk bed. I'm going to have a nightmare about that tonight. God damn it.
Do you think that, I mean, if we were to be Freudian, do you think it has to do with sexual abuse?
Oh, I never even thought about that.
Or is
Maybe
it just that they're
feeling
fucking
trapped
disgusting?
in my own bed? Something like that. Feeling like the monsters are coming into my bedroom. And
well,
I can't
you know, the snake is...
Penis. I know. I could totally see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, I didn't even think about that, but thanks, Dr. Susie.
Well, anyway, so this person found these snakes in a pillowcase, opened the damn bag up, saw them in there. Then, instead of running for their life, which is what I would do...
like a sane person.
They called animal control and took
Who's
them...
this, Mindy Irwin?
I know! Bindi.
Mindy.
Mindy.
Well, whatever. That was close.
Still funny, though. Wait, I gotta... Hold on a minute. Okay. So, they took them in to get treated, and only one died, even though it was very cold. And so the person who left them there was being abusive because they were likely to die, but... I don't know whether to be happy, but they were so happy. Whoever was writing about this were like, "We did it, we saved." And I'm like, "Are you fucking crazy?"
You know, I don't know. Our lives are important.
I mean, and then they went back.
What kind of snakes were they? Do we know?
I saw pictures. I mean, they were big and brown and creepy. Ooh. Not like garter or whatever they call those.
Right, the cute green ones.
Yeah, it wasn't like that.
No.
Mm-hmm. And then that person went back, and when they went back to the scene of the snakes, there was another pillowcase full of snakes.
What is going on? Two things are happening.
This is so funny.
One, that person is probably out of pillowcases.
Right. Who has that many spares? Brooklyn in.
Right. They need to use our coupon code. It's so funny.
They need to suck up.
And
so if you've used all your pillowcases on snakes,
Oh, that would have been the perfect segue.
It really would. I'm mad at
Should have told the story earlier.
Instead, I will segue to talk about how important it is to be accountable and stay on track and reach your goals. And Noom would like to help you do that. I love this program because they encourage you to choose your goal, whether it's just eating better to feel better or having more energy or enjoying exercise, which, you know, that's a Herculean task to enjoy exercise.
It's better when you have a community.
It is. They have a community. They have experts that will help encourage you and keep you on track. And it's flexible. It works with your lifestyle, and you don't have to commit to some rigorous plan or anything like that. You just pick goals that are right for you and have a community that will help you reach them, which I think is great. Sarah and I were laughing about how, remember at the beginning of the year when we were so optimistic about 2020? And now I'm living in a bunker.
No, there's a bunker.
So Noom can help you reach your goals despite the state of affairs. Totally. It's a perfect time to make a step towards healthier habits. Sign up for your trial today at Noom, Noom.com/braincandy. What do you have to lose? Visit Noom.com/braincandy to start your trial today. That's Noom, Noom.com/braincandy. All right. So snake talk is over. I'm sure Sarah is pleased.
Oh, thank God.
Bag of snakes.
Snakes. Kind of what a bag of dicks might look like to some people.
Who do you think is sending us these packages? We got a bag of dicks, gummy candies.
Yes.
And then we got a bag of tits.
Yeah, because we're the tits.
Is that what you think?
Yes.
They're
with
saying,
no glitter, so this person knows us and did a good job. We're the tits. Come on now.
The first person that sent the gummies that were bag of dicks, they also included glitter, which that's warfare.
Warfare.
That you're doing.
Right. That is not allowed in the bunker.
No glitter allowed. No, that could contaminate. You don't know what particles are on there. I don't know who's doing it, but I think they're funny. That's all.
We encourage the sending of all gifts to us.
Absolutely.
Please send away. I love it. There's nothing more fun.
Oh, my God. And I get notifications like, you have a package. And I'm always like, uh-oh. I genuinely get scared.
Yeah.
Okay.
Man, we got a new... This is like just what's happening in Sarah's life story. But I moved into an apartment complex that has one of those Amazon hubs. Have you seen these things?
No. Tell me everything.
It's really cool. This is the fucking future, Suze.
Okay.
Okay, so there's this big... It kind of looks like the... What are the mailboxes that you, like at the mail... What are they called?
P.O. box?
P.O. box. Thank you. Like a P.O. box. So there's this big metal thing in our lobby, and you get a little alert that says, your package has arrived at the Amazon hub. Here's your code. You go down to the machine.
Yeah.
You enter the code.
Yeah.
And then it says, please wait while the door opens. And the most fun part is you have no idea which door it's going to be because it's just like...
Let's make a deal.
Yeah, and there's one side and another side. So, like, you don't know which side it's going to be on. It's, like, super fun to wait for. And then you hear a boop, and the door pops open, and you grab your box, and then you close the door. And then if you have two, as soon as you close the door, the other door pops open.
No.
And you pick it up, and then there you go. You get your stuff.
What?
Yeah, it's really fun.
And why is it specific to
videotape
Amazon, though? What if it came from another company?
No, it's just an Amazon hub. It's like... there's so many people living in this complex, and they have them in other places. Like there's an Amazon hub. When I lived in Dana Point, there was one at the Rite Aid, like a drugstore that was near where I lived. And it's
why?
I think it's like you can get them faster, and it's a central location. It's like Amazon drops up, like we'll load all that, and then.
And why will it go there instead of your house?
Maybe I'm thinking maybe people who are having things stolen off of their porch.
Oh, this is a solution.
It's kind of like a solution to that,
okay.
Or if it's. I think maybe there's an option to get it sooner if you get it from a hub versus the delivery.
Oh, that's interesting.
But it was really fun to do the code, and then it says, you have a package. So when you said that, it reminded me.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, it's like a surprise party, too. You're like, wonder what it is.
Yeah.
All right, I like that.
And they have big ones and little ones, like boxes and little boxes, so it's super fun.
Can you take a pic?
It.
Yeah.
Yes. I'll totally videotape it next time.
Genuinely interested.
Looks like I got to order something on Amazon.
That won't be hard.
Right.
I read this great piece in, I'm not sure where, but it was about the last meals of death row people. And
I'm really fascinated by that.
Me too. Why are you?
That's a good question.
Well, that's what this article was talking about. Is it referenced two scholarly articles that were trying to describe why we even care, why we do this ritual, because it's an American thing. It's not.
It feels like insight into what's important to them, and like kind of tells a lot about, I don't know, maybe who they were and what. I don't know.
Yeah.
'Cause I feel like you always pick the food that's like the most comfort. People pick weird things though, right?
What would you pick?
Last meal.
Carbonara.
It might be carbonara, or it would be like a whole Mediterranean feast. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
you
I'd want to
love
like keep
Mediterranean.
eating, and I'd want like a bunch of
Absolutely.
like I want this to be never ending. This is a fucking buffet. What a buffet!
You do love a buffet.
Nobody loves a buffet more than me.
What if you requested that and they had to bring in the whole thing? I was thinking that we should ask our listeners what would they choose
It's
as
a great
their...
question.
Yeah, it tells you a lot about people.
I feel like a lot of people would answer pizza,
Really?
or like the most naughty. What's like the naughtiest?
Right. That
Meal? I hate calling it naughty because it shouldn't be like
yeah,
that.
it's not sinful.
Right.
Yeah.
It's more like the most gluttonous.
Yeah.
Which is also sinful.
Yeah, but it's
Change
true.
it.
So here are some insights into what we've learned, which is that if you don't have...
This is fascinating.
It is so fun. I love it. So if you don't pick a meal, but you're going to die, then they have a default one. Steak.
I knew it.
Steak, medium rare, over easy eggs, toast, hash browns, and then like some jellies and stuff.
Steak and eggs.
How
They give you
weird.
breakfast.
I know. What do they do? Do they do it in the morning? I don't know.
That's a good question.
Okay. So then the two biggest ones were, one was in Oklahoma and one was in Texas. And they were over 7,000 calories, which I would do.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
70% asked for fried food. 16% ordered Coke. The best part, though, is 3 asked for Diet Coke.
But in all fairness, I like the taste of Diet Coke better than regular Coke because I think regular Coke tastes like cough syrup.
Oh,
It's
really?
like thick and like syrupy and like it tastes too sugar. Except the regular sugar one that's like the real thing. That's delicious.
If there was ever a time, though, to just be
Counting
food
calories.
coma and like syrupy, it would be fucking...
When you're about to be in a real coma.
Yes. Oh, my God. And one of the scholars said they felt like part of why we're into this as a culture is that we used to disgustingly watch lynchings and executions.
This is true.
And so there was a sense of connection with it. And now there's so much distance that this is sort of the only...
Ew!
Yeah.
I hate that I like that then. I don't like it, but I just think it's interesting. I don't
do
want
too.
to go seek it. Ew, because I would
but
never.
the-
And I sure as hell don't ever want to see somebody in that situation.
My
That'd be
friend
awful.
Rex, he works for the Chicago Tribune, and he was there for Timothy McVeigh's execution. And that was fascinating to talk to him about because what a strange thing to behold.
Yeah, I don't know if I could see somebody's life go away. Like the moment somebody dies.
Yeah. Are you anti-death penalty or pro or what? What's your position?
I go back. I don't know. It's a hard one for me because after I watched the Gabriel Fernandez documentary, I felt very much like
Yeah, I think that's a natural feeling.
it was like hurting a child that I could not comprehend. Oh, I can't even think about it. It'll make me cry. It's just the worst.
Other scholars, though, said that this allows us to realize that these are human beings.
Yeah.
And that, they have preferences and desires. And some people think that it could help be a part of the activism to fight against the death penalty.
Yeah. Well, we did read for another book club, The Sun Still Rises. That was written by the inmate who was on death row for years.
How great was that book?
So good. That's a fascinating book. That's also a fast read. People should check that out. It's a great book.
Yeah.
And was that one of yours that I read?
I was wondering that too. I read it.
Yeah.
So I think it might have been. Yeah.
Look at me.
Yeah.
And so that was beautiful. And he was falsely convicted.
Yeah.
And so that's when I really am anti, when there is the false, where it's like...
And we know that it's racially
for sure
problematic as well. And so that I'm anti-death penalty.
Yeah.
But I definitely know that feeling that you're describing.
Yeah, because I would never want one innocent person to be executed.
Yeah.
When, so I would hate. I don't want that. But man, when I saw what happened in that to that little boy, it seemed like this.
Well, especially when they aren't sorry.
Not at all.
Yeah, I mean,
and I think that mom just got lucky. I mean, I can't even think about it. It's it haunts you. So I wouldn't want to have anything to do with that, nor would I want to have anything to do with making the decisions. I wouldn't want to be a jury member. Couldn't do it. Could never make that call. Mm-hmm. Ever.
Well, that'll probably get you out of jury duty if you tell them that.
I could not possibly make that call.
Yeah. Well, if you live,
really
does California even do that though?
They do, because California was the state that the Hernandez case was in, and the boyfriend got sentenced to the death penalty. He got the death penalty.
I thought we had eliminated
I thought
that.
we did too. When I saw that, I couldn't believe it was in California. I mean,
Huh. Interesting. I'll have to look that up.
Yeah.
But I did also think it was funny that Texas in 2011 abandoned the bespoke last meal for death row inmates after killer Lawrence Russell Brewer placed a vast order, 2 chicken fried steaks, a pound of barbecue, and so on, and ate none of it.
Oh,
like
my God.
They were just pissed.
Like the last fuck you. It was like, I'm ordering it.
You did all, and so they were like, that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what pushed them over the edge.
That's so, okay, that is funny. But you know what?
It's petty and great, and I love it.
I do like that last. Ooh, yeah, that's a real manipulative move. That's funny. Gosh.
Any hoodles. Anything else you'd like to add before we hit the road here?
Well, I'll hit the road. You're staying put in your bunker.
That is for sure.
Yes.
I am not leaving the house from now on until basically until somebody gets their shit together,
right,
and sorts this all out. But I mean, that's not really a stretch, as I said last time. I mean, I don't really go out anyway.
It's perfect for you. I've been looking for an excuse to stay in.
What a mess. But I'll be here. We'll be creating content.
Oh, we've got you entertained.
Yeah, we got you, boo.
Yeah.
So if you're like hanging out at home, we'll be there with you. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.